AU Life this morning in Burlington. What is the AU Life? How did you do in chemistry in high school? Yeah, me too. Not that well. But remember the periodic table? AU, gold. So we're at the AU Jewelry Exchange Lab. This is Jen. Hello, Jen.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Good.
I love the name, and I'm very happy. When I first talked to Jen, I actually got that AU was gold. Do many people get that when you first?
Not really, no. The AU to us was a duality of it being about you. The experience here is about you, and obviously the periodic symbol of gold as well.
Awesome. Why get into jewelry exchange?
It's a timely time in the market right now. The price of gold is quite high, so it's a very attractive and profitable time to sell your jewelry.
Okay, so we talk about gold, not just gold though.
Not just gold.
What other metals?
Silver and platinum. So
okay.
we are a precious metals recycling center here. We do not resell your jewelry or your silverware to the retail public. It actually gets all sent to our wholesale refinery. 80% of what we buy gets melted down and reused by the Royal Canadian Mint.
So is that how you might be different than some of the other spots out there?
Exactly. So what we're doing here is we're looking for the purity of gold, silver, and platinum in your contents of jewelry, silverware, or coins. Once we know that purity, then we're weighing it and then giving you an evaluation on how much gold and silver that you have in your contents. And as opposed to us reselling it to the retail public, so if we're buying your ring, we're not going to resell it. Instead, we're going to melt that down and reuse it into the economy.
So there's no negotiating in the price because the price is the price.
That's
now
correct.
The price is always changing because the gold is always going up and down and all the metals are going up and down.
Yeah, gold went up overnight and so did silver.
Exactly.
So
and we know kind of why that is too, but we won't get into that. That's a whole other situation.
Yeah, exactly.
that whole situation.
Exactly.
So who is coming in? Who are you seeing a lot of?
Primarily, the customers that we service are people that are in the more like legacy years of their life and letting go. So, these are precious metals.
Right.
Precious to us because we've had them gifted to us or
some jewelry, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Kind of handed down?
Handed down or past loves, relationships, a little bit of everything. We see family rings. We see charm bracelets. Again, they're 30 years of memories. They're precious memories for you, but primarily the customers that we see in the lab are people that are letting go of those things because they're no longer collecting.
So they're not coming to you, they've already kind of determined that they're letting it go.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Silverware is a big one.
Silverware is a huge one. So we buy sterling silver. Sterling silver is 925, so it's 92.5% sterling silver, and the remainder would be copper in these flatware sets. So these flatware sets here,
like something like this. Well, I don't know. I grew up on these. So many of us have these.
Yeah. So unfortunately, those times have changed, and people aren't really setting their tables like this anymore. This requires a lot of work. You have to polish it a couple times a year. We're not using the salad, the dinner, the spoon. We're not setting our tables like this anymore. However, there is value in these pieces. So there's two different types of flatware that we'll find here in the lab. One will be a plated set, and one would be a sterling silver set. So the difference between the two, forks look fairly similar. This one here on the left is plated, and this one here on the right is sterling silver. How you can tell that is by looking at the back. Don't know how well the camera can see that.
It looks pretty good. So if you're zooming in, it will actually say
Rogers on the bottom one here.
Bottom one right here.
And then on the top it says Burke Sterling. So what you're looking for is the word sterling. If you see sterling, then you know that this is 92.5% sterling.
So how much do we know that would be worth?
So
this is worth nothing.
That's correct. This is worth a donation to Goodwill, etc. This one is about.
So we weigh it? So let's weigh it. I know we're kind of running out of time, and we're going to be doing a whole evaluation to kind of take people through.
So we're going to weigh this fork. It is 58.28 grams.
So then you would work in the price of silver, because you're always up to date on the price of silver.
So the price of silver per gram right now, this morning, is 68 cents. So that fork is worth $39.65. Wow. So if you've got an 80-piece set in one of those box sets, you can imagine it's usually a couple $1,000s worth of silver that you can recycle. Okay.
So what we want to do with Jen here at the AU Can we go the
Jewelry
Exchange
Exchange
Lab?
Lab?
The is take us through an evaluation.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say like I'm bringing in this jewelry box, and this is
Perfect.
how somebody would sit here. You're sitting here.
Yep.
You're stepping through the whole process of what is in here. So
That's right.
we'll come back and do that. Do you need an appointment, or can you show up? What's the best way to do it?
You do
Jen?
need an appointment
Okay.
because you have exclusive time here at the lab with us. So when you're
Right.
here, it's just you and I, and an appointment is definitely necessary.
Right, the
And the aulife.com.
.com
Yep.
for more information. We'll come back with Jen
Perfect.
on Morning Live. Whoa, look at that one. Okay. All right, good morning. Welcome back to the Jewelry Exchange Lab. Back here with Jen. We're doing some evaluating. Welcome in. Come on in, because this is how it would happen, okay? So somebody has talked to you on the phone. I think that's a key point, right?
Yeah.
They need to talk to you ahead of time to kind of tell you what they have and what they
For
want to
sure.
bring, what they want to bring in.
For sure. So we can save you a little bit of time of bringing things that aren't gold and silver. And
Right.
we kind of walk you through the process over the phone.
And avoid that disappointment.
That's
Because
right.
people might think, you probably find that a lot, that they think it has value when it doesn't have value.
Sometimes, yeah. And
Okay.
also there's things in your hutch that maybe we don't buy, like crystal and china, things like that. So we kind of go through all the things that we do buy and help the customer gather up the things from their jewelry box and their
Main
hutch.
things you're buying, gold,
Gold,
silver,
and platinum.
and platinum. Okay, what do we have in front of us here?
We have in front of us is a sample evaluation. So these are gold and silver jewelry and coin items that we've purchased already. One of the first things that we do, Tim, is a earth magnet test.
Okay,
you can
so
do
what
that
is,
one if
what
you
is
like.
this?
So it's an earth magnet. You want to keep that away from your cell phone because it's really, really powerful. And what it's going to do, it's going to stick. You'll have any metals that are not gold and silver, like this coin. So this is primarily a nickel coin. It's a Manitoba dollar. There's not enough silver content in that coin for us to recycle it, so we would remove these items.
So that means it is not worth.
That's right.
Watches?
Watches, typically, this watch anyway does not have any silver in it. We do buy watches.
So I'm going through all of that.
This guy here, this is an interesting piece, and this is where it kind of gets a little bit more detailed. So this is a charm bracelet, very common. We were all wearing these back in the day, and people still wear them today in different ways. So that's like holiday bracelets. Here's a more modern day bracelet, which is the Pandora that everyone seems to know now.
Okay.
This is a charm bracelet that, you would get these little charms from family and friends and loved ones. This one charm is stainless, so we would just remove that, but the majority of these charms on here are sterling silver, and we do buy those.
How do you know that's sterling silver?
So the next test you're gonna do is you're gonna look through this little loop, and this loop, you're gonna look for a hallmark, Tim, and so at the very bottom,
Okay, I don't know, Luke.
On
I
the
don't know if you
back?
can see this. We're gonna try and look together. Yeah, you probably can't see it. Okay, so what am I seeing there?
so
Jen?
you should be seeing a mark that says 925 or STER, which indicates that it's a hallmark that is indicating that it's a sterling silver charm,
Right.
and it has 92.5%.
I don't know if you got that, Luke, but this is an important piece
Very
for you too.
important tool.
Okay, so you
It's
would
our
go through
first-
every single one of these
I would.
in
Yeah.
front of the
Yeah,
customer?
it doesn't take that long.
Okay.
Once you get used to it, it doesn't take that long. And sometimes to the eye, you can really tell.
Okay.
We do the same thing with jewelry. So for example, this was very common in the 80s, this snake rope style type chains. This one, you would do the same.
Test it. Let's test it.
Test it with the magnet. So
Okay.
you're good to go.
You're good to go.
Sometimes a magnet will pick up and that's only because that isn't gold, only because it needs to be a little bit stronger. So there's nothing wrong with that. The rest of the piece is gold,
Okay.
except for that little piece. But if you look at that hallmark, again, you're going to look through
Okay, here's
your
my
little
piece.
loop.
Right.
I'm putting you to work this
I know,
morning,
I
Tim.
like it. Okay.
So that should say 585 or 14K.
Okay.
And if you look at the gold purity chart to your left there on the wall, you'll see
Oh.
that gold, 24 karat, is pure. So this little tiny piece of gold here is our pure sample of gold.
This
That
this
little
little
tiny guy.
this little guy here.
That's 1 gram of pure gold.
Okay, so
24
and I
karat
think
gold.
the key is that we have to regroup and we have to go, but you're not reselling any of this.
No,
You're taking this stuff and sending it off to
the refiner.
the refiner.
So this 14 karat bracelet
Right.
is going to get melted down and going to look like that at the end to be
Sorry.
reused in the economy. So gold and
How-
silver is used in to remake
Sorry.
jewelry,
Right.
coins, conductors in our cell phones. Your cell phone wouldn't work without gold.
Right.
It's a necessary.
How much could that be stretched? Like how much gold is that?
Gold's very dense. So gold in the whole world that's ever been mined is 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. It only fills 3 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So that gold, that little piece of gold, would stretch a kilometer. So we could get to the beach
and this is worth how much?
That's worth $80.
$80, cool. Okay, well, so everybody, get your camera up there. No, I'm kidding. Best to reach out to Jen and the gang here at the Jewelry Exchange Lab to book an appointment, to have a chat, to see what you have, and then to come in and evaluate things.
Absolutely.
And we're going to continue to do that because I'm very fascinated about how far we can stretch gold and the value of gold and some of the other things. And coins and so many things you might not know. We'll come back and we'll explore that on Morning Live. Good morning. Welcome back to the Jewelry Exchange Lab in Burlington. We're going through an evaluation, so this is pretty neat. This is all my jewelry that I've brought into Jen because this is how the situation would happen.
That's correct.
You've had a chat with Jen on the phone about maybe some of the things that you had. She tells you to bring it in and you sit with them and go through it together.
We do.
Okay.
So we go through each pile of, whether it's your jewelry box or the little containers that you've brought in or Ziploc bags, however you bring it in, we're going to help you sort through it.
What did we set on here? This is a popular thing. I know my mom has some of that in her jewelry box.
So everybody has broken jewelry typically in their jewelry box. So this is old chains that, if you've got the rest of your morning to try to untangle those and have a little bit of a good time or test your patience. It's still worth something though.
Yeah. Is it worth something? 'Cause that is gold.
This is gold.
Where's our little doohickey? Let's try that.
You want our little loop?
This
thing,
right?
earth magnet. Yeah,
the earth
so
magnet. Test that out.
Sticks.
Because if it doesn't, so a little bit of it
Just
sticks.
the clasp sticks because the clasp needs to be stronger than the chain, so the clasp is not made of gold, but the rest of it is.
So how much do we know how much that is?
So that's 14 karat gold. We've tested that already. It's 14 karat. There's 4.13 grams, and at $34 a gram, that little pile of gold is worth $142.20. So stuff that
you're doing all of this in front of them, and then they get all that $142.
That's correct. That's correct. So we go through each item to find out what the purity is. The higher the purity, the higher payout. So it's important to know the purity.
Find out the purity.
Well, we do it by the earth magnet test. We're doing it by the loop test. There's a variety of tests that we do, but our number one test that we love to do here in the lab is from our little gamma X-ray machine. This is a thermoscientific X-ray gun, so be very careful. Don't hit that little gray button on the side there, Tim.
Do not. Okay,
no,
what can I do with it?
But what you can do is you're going to help me do an evaluation on this Montreal Olympic coin. So coins have typically a currency and a commodity value. So this one has a non-circulated currency value of $10. But it also has a whole heck of a lot of silver in there. So you're going to tell me how much.
Okay, so do I need to take this off?
No, you don't. It's going to go right through the glass. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your X-ray gun flat on the surface to the coin, press that button and hold it, press the trigger and hold it for 10 seconds, and this guy is going to tell us exactly 100% the content of the purity of the metal that you're testing. So AG is this periodic symbol of silver. You can take the test off now.
Okay, so let's turn that around. So AG is silver. So that is 93.69% silver.
Correct. So there's 69% silver. So that's what we can recycle. So what we're really doing here is urban mining. So what we do is we take this little plastic piece off, and we can reuse this silver.
How much? So this I can take this back to the bank for $10.
You can take it to probably the Royal Bank. Not all banks will take it, but you can take it to the bank for $10, or you can sell it to us for just over $30. The commodity value right now is quite higher than the currency value. Same with the silver dollar. So I believe there's a silver dollar in one of these piles here.
Silver dollar in here somewhere.
It's right here. So
Luke, where's the silver dollar? Check his pockets.
That silver dollar there.
Right.
Silver dollars. That's a 1965 silver dollar. Go ahead if you wanted to.
So we're probably running out of time. We'll do this to break. Put that in there, and we'll come back, and we'll talk more about the Jewelry Exchange Lab because you want to book an appointment, have a conversation with Jen on the phone, and bring in your jewelry. And there we go. Silver, 92.51. And we'll look and see how much all this jewelry that I brought in is worth when we come back on Morning Live. Good morning. I am loving this X-ray fluorescent gun here at the Jewelry Exchange Lab in Burlington because it allows us to detect and test out how much gold, silver, other metals are in the jewelry that you're bringing in here that Jen can take a look at. So I just tested that one there. That might be something common that you would see come through here.
Common, yeah.
Okay, so let's turn it around. And what do we got in there, Jen?
So you've got AU, so the periodic symbol of gold. We've got 27.01%, so you're just about shy of a 10 carat piece. So that I would test that again because you probably just didn't have it quite on the bracelet yet. Okay. So that needs another test, but that's basically showing me that I'm pretty close to a 10 carat piece here.
Because is that, what on average would you get in here for?
Average we see for most jewelry boxes 10, 14, 18 carat. Most Western kind of gold that you would see department store type of gold, you know, that's going to be 10, 14 carat. More European gold would be 18 carat.
Oh, look at you, you're right. So 51.42
Correct.
Gold. So there's silver in there too?
There is. There's silver in there. There's a little bit of iron in there, some zinc.
You're really working your chemistry. Were you good at chemistry?
No.
Look at you, it's coming back around.
Yeah.
So what happens now? Okay, so what goes?
Yeah, so what we do with these items, so this sample evaluation, this one here, for example, is a ring getting remade. So most people will either regift things, remake them, or recycle them. So this is a remake, so that's going to go to our jeweler to get remade.
Okay.
This might be regifted. So we're going to put this aside as well and help the customer with that. The rest of these things, nobody in their family wants them. They don't want to remake any of it. They just want to sell it. It's a great time to do so. You can recycle your metals by urban mining. So what happens?
What is urban mining all about?
So what happens is this stuff gets refined, so it gets melted down and goes back to being pure gold. That's known as you're partaking in urban mining. So what happens after it gets refined and put back into its pure form, it gets reused. Reused in jewelry, new coins, most specifically new electronics. So your cell phone wouldn't work without gold conducting in it. Everybody has gold and silver in their cell phones, their electronics. It's a necessary resource.
And it's good for our world because there's not that much gold.
It's very finite.
Because how are we mining gold? Is there any more gold out there to mine?
We are still mining it. A lot of it's at the bottom of the ocean. It's 300 times friendlier to recycle it than it is to mine the earth for new.
Right.
So if this stuff is collecting dust in your jewelry box, you're doing the world a little bit of a favor by giving it back into the economy, and it's a good time it's a profitable time to do it.
You you created an evaluation for me. So you kind of assessed all of this, and this is how it would happen. So you kind of assessed everything. So how much is all the stuff that I brought in this jewelry box?
We've got about 33 grams of 10 karat gold, 48 grams of 14 karat gold, a little bit of coinage and sterling silver. Altogether, your evaluation of what you see here is worth $2,726.58.
Score. Lunch, Luke? Hi, buddy.
If you chose to accept that evaluation, there's no pressure to do so, obviously. But if you chose to accept the evaluation, we would pay you out by e-transfer, draft, check, and if you really, really wanted it, we'd walk across the street and get cash for you.
Are most people, when they're coming in here, they're already willing to sell it?
Absolutely.
To you? Right?
It's very important that you are in the stage of letting it go, because once it leaves here, it's being melted. So there is no, changing your mind and wanting this back at the end of the day.
And that might be the difference from some of the other spots out there because it is being resold. But this is no longer going to be jewelry.
That's correct.
Okay, it is getting melted down.
Some coinage doesn't necessarily get melted down. That will be resold to somebody who's collecting coins. But the majority, 80% of what we buy gets melted. Now, there are some things you would never melt. Yeah. And in that case, then we go through those items with the client and determine where's the next best spot for that and can we find a buyer.
The aulife.com in Burlington. Book an appointment with Jen, give her a call and have a discussion. You learned a lot. We've learned a lot. Yeah. Hopefully you've learned a lot. Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome. My pleasure.